Hi everyone, this is Sylvan, your host. Thank you for watching Wine Geometry. This is episode 104. Today we're here to talk about another style of wine, which is rosé wine. Do you actually know how we make rosé wine? Is there such thing as a pink grape? And how come you can actually use the grapes of red wine to make a rosé wine? We're going to find out now. So the main differences between white wine, red wine, and rosé wine is actually the wine making. How is the process going? With a white wine, when you collect the grapes, so after the harvest, you first crush the grapes, then you press them and you take off the skins, and after that, with the juice, you go through fermentation, which is, as we explained, the sugars that are inside the grapes plus the yeast that form alcohol plus heat plus carbon dioxide. So if the skins are put out of the process before the fermentation, which is the most coloring process, then obviously the grapes will be white. In case of red and rosé wine, how does it go? The process goes crushing, then fermentation, and then after that, pressing and taking out the skins. So during the fermentation, the skins are still actually in the juice. That's why there's such a coloration that can be rosé or down to deep purple or even garnet or tawny colors. For rosé wine, the specialty is that during the fermentation, there is a punching down and a pumping that is used during the fermentation of a red wine to extract the color, tannin, and flavor from the grape skins. The wine can be in contact with the skins for anything from 5 days to 2 weeks, whereas with rosé wines, they are taking off the skins after only 12 to 36 hours, so that the wine does not become too deeply colored. After that, rosé wine, as red wine, goes through maturation, so aging, it can be in oak or in stainless steel tanks, then blending and bottling. So you understand that the rosé wine or pink wine gets this rosé pink color from the duration during which the skins are in the fermentations with the juice. Now let's look a little bit at the regions where they make rosé wines. Rosé wine is mostly made of Grenache or Garnacha grape. So this is a black grape variety with large, but thin skins, high sugar levels, and low acidity. So obviously for these kind of grapes, you're going to look at regions with hot climate, such as south of France, southern Rhône, and Spain. So the wine I brought you this week is a Côte de Provence. So this is obviously the most famous region for rosé wine. This is Henri Gaillard, Côte de Provence. So it's made of Syrah or Shiraz, Grenache, Mourvèdre, and Cinsault. Okay, so 4 types of grapes, but basically it's made on Grenache most of all. Note that this is a 2015 wine because rosé wines have to be drunk young. Basically, you need to have that fruity taste. You don't want them to be aged too long because they're going to lose all that floral, fruity taste that is the reason why you drink these wines. Let's give it a try. So we open with our usual cork opener. All right, so as usual, we swirl the wine in the glass. Okay, so we have a large enough glass. For rosé wine, you actually don't need such a large glass. You can use a ISO glass. I'll explain another time what ISO glass is, but it's kind of the perfect glass that has a tulip shape to spread in the aromas, but then concentrate them up to your nose. Okay. So it should be fresh, fruity. We should have some strawberries, some red fruit. Okay, this is typical of a young wine made of Grenache. This is what we should be sensing. Yeah, exactly what I was saying. You even have some floral notes here of elderflower, very like blossom, something like that. Even some orangey notes actually. So really typical of the south of France. You really can feel the landscape of the fresh cut grass, the water. I mean the seas, the Mediterranean Sea is close to you. It's really the kind of feel I'm getting right now. You're on a terrace or a balcony, enjoying the weather, enjoying the view. So how to rate it? I think, as usual, you have to go through the steps that I defined earlier. So the smell, first of all, very clean, medium to pronounced intensity, again, of red fruit, floral, and the palate is the same. And as soon as you have the palate that respects the nose, I mean, in terms of intensity, in terms of floral, or in terms of flavors that you're feeling, that means it's at least a good wine. So it really is more than acceptable wine. I think it's actually a very good wine because it respects everything it's supposed to be. It's light, it's balanced because it has some tannins, some acid that are balancing with each other quite interestingly. So I have the side of my tongue that is tickling a little bit, tingling a little bit, and I still have it lingering in my mouth. So it's much longer than we would expect actually for a rosé wine. So very astonishing. I would give it a 17 out of 20 easily in its own category. It's a very good bottle. It sells at $36 a bottle, so you can have a look on my site to where to buy it. And again, you can enjoy a 10% discount if you buy it from my website with my codes, so don't miss out on it. Thanks for watching this episode of Wine Geometry TV. This is Sylvain, your host, saying goodbye and see you next week. Remember, a wine a week keeps your palate unique.